The next stop of the tour on the way to a championship is Concord, North Carolina, where the longest race of the season awaits, a test of endurance to those looking to outlast the competition as the All-Star break nears. live from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. We welcome you to the 8th race of the Season 6 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. It's all 1.5 miles of Charlotte on tap tonight. We're happy to have you join us. We're alongside nobody in the broadcast booth. My name is Kenneth Bueno. We're happy to have you on the KBueno Racing Network for once again another 4-wide race night. It has been an unbelievable season so far. We have seen many different winners, but that spell ended last week at the Tricky Triangle, where there was one other than Lawson Peel, driver of the 12, to get the race victory. Let's look in the rearview mirror before we get into the details of tonight. Green flag in the air. Rookie Ethan Fonseca Moreno on the outside of the Season 4 champ. And we had a lot of battling early from drivers at the front of the field. Dane Cruz, in his first ever start, performed quite well in the race. And how about 3 wide into the corner? Colin Forrester, Eric Schaefer, Lance Hill, Craig Launslager, 4-car pack that would develop throughout the first stint of the race. It would go green all the way until about lap 26 or 28, when most of the field would come down pit road. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Schaefer, Brackett, Dane Cruz, you name it, everyone coming in. Then the 12 of Lawson Peel finally decided to come in. He was the last one to pit, and we went green all the way through. Here's the pass for the lead that will decide it with 18 laps to go. Peel getting around a saving Ethan Fonseca Moreno, and he did not look back. The Season 4 champ grabbed his second win of the Season 6 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series, and he has been on fire all season long. He grabs the points lead. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but it's the second win for the driver of the 12, and he's the first driver to have at least one win in the last 3 seasons. It's been an impressive feat so far for Lawson Peel, the driver out of Columbus, Mississippi, and did pick up the win several times last season and even the season before that. A combined 14 W's over the last 2 seasons. He is the current all-time win leader in the 4-wide series. Drivers are in qualifying right now, but as we get ready to get the green flag in just a couple of moments, let's take a look at the point standings, and this is where it all settles after the first 7 or so races. Lawson Peel ends up still with the championship lead by around 8 or so points over his teammate Eric Schaefer. Both of them have arguably been the most consistent drivers of the season. Ethan Fonseca Moreno is starting to make it a challenge, though, in third, only 25 points out of Schaefer's reach. Then Luke Knupp right behind his teammate, around 14 points out. And you look all the way down to 14th. That's where you find AJ Green, who currently, as it stands, is the last driver into the playoffs. 13th and 14th will be the wild card spots. Top 12 will make it, but as of right now, most of the drivers floating around that area do not have wins other than TJ Bursk. So TJ might have an opportunity at making that playoff push as a wild card, unless he's able to thrust his way forward, but that's exactly how points are decided as of right now. We're slowly developing the report for most of the field, seeing exactly who are the favorites, who might fall back in line, and who might have to do some work over the course of the season, including the All-Star break. Let's get a look at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's our first trip to Charlotte since last season, deep in the playoffs, where Jaden Porter grabbed the win to get himself into the Championship 5. This track located in Concord, North Carolina. Simple 1.5 mile oval, 24 degrees of banking in the corners, 5 degrees on the straightaways, and we go for 2.4 kilometers around this track that opened back in 1960. It's our second 1.5 mile track of the season, our first since Las Vegas. So it's been a little bit of time since we've had a proper 1.5 mile race, but be sure this is the longest race of the season. So this is going to be a big challenge for those, even with the experience of Las Vegas earlier this year. Well, drivers are right behind the iRacing official pace car, so let's get you trackside for the starting grid of tonight's race from Charlotte Motor Speedway in the 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. On pole is the number 3 of Eric Schaefer at a 30.195. The driver's second in point standings will have the first look at the green flag this evening. Adam Alashire in the 91 for Stonks Motorsports. He has a good look up front. He'll be on the outside of row number 1. Kyle Benson sporting a new pilot paint scheme this evening. He'll roll off third, and the winner from last week, 2-time winner this season, Lawson Peel, looking to make it win number 3 on the calendar year. He rolls off outside of row number 2. TJ Bursk in the 94 looking for his second win. He starts in 5th. Lance Hill in the 1 car will be on his outside in P6. In P7, you'll find the number 10 of Wyatt Brackett. We saw him on the qualifying charts a bit ago. Ethan Fonseca Moreno with a brand new paint scheme. He rolls off from 8th. That closes off row number 4, rounding out the top 10. Timothy Cook in the 29, and Craig Lounslager rounding out the current top 10. Former winner here at Charlotte, Jaden Porter, is looking to go 2 in a row here in Concord, North Carolina. He's got Colin Forrester to his outside in P12. Tony Kivitt in the 76 is 13th. Nicholas Vizzuti right alongside him in 14th place. Top 15 to Jesse Prees on the starting grid. Trevor Haley, the rookie driver, is 16th on the grid. AJ Green will have to do a bit of work from 17th. Michael Newbra on his outside, the Drinkin' Bros Racing Chevrolet, in 18th place. Rounding out the top 20 will be Kevin D'Elia for Skybox Racing in 19th. Brandon Banks on his outside, Talladega winner, to round out the top 20. Rookie Craig Parks in the 17 is 21st. 22nd goes to Curtis Kelly in row number 11. Tyler Murray in the 36. He's had a couple of good runs as of late. He rolls off against the rookie on his outside, the 24th place Ryan Pandicio. Eric Stewart will be 25th. 26 goes to Christopher Bishop in the number 42 machine. And then rounding out the top 28 on row number 14, Jason Hastings in the 49. Richard Rico in the number 18. Brandon Gillis is 29th. Jeff Noe to round out the top 30. Luke Canup, the first driver not to take a qualifying time this evening. He'll roll off from 31st inside row 16. Austin Reedy on his outside in 32nd. Patrick Thompson is 33rd. Cody Kinsey will be 34th. And rounding out our field in row number 18 from Charlotte, David Brackett in the 7th. Well, looking at the top 10 in point standings just a bit ago, 4 of those are rookies. They have definitely made a statement so far this season. We'll see if they can do the same from Charlotte. And the last time we were at a 1.5-mile track, it was Ethan Fonseca Moreno being able to grab his first career 4-wide racing win. So maybe we could be in store for some more surprises going down the line. Let's take a look at the weather before we get started here from North Carolina on our longest race of the season. Track temp at 76 degrees, rather cool here in this sort of afternoon, evening setting here in Sim. We will go right into the nightfall, and the lights will be flickered on tonight. Southwest winds at 6.5 miles an hour, and there are partly cloudy skies here at Charlotte. We should not expect anything different than beautiful conditions on the racetrack. We go for 167 laps, the longest race of the 4-wide season to date. 250 miles, 400 kilometers. So safe to say it's a test of how long you can last. And last season, we saw this race come down to the very nitty-gritty on strategy. We might see the same happen tonight. We had our first flag-to-flag race in either a very long time or ever in 4-wide history just last Wednesday at the Tricky Triangle. We might have some of the same tonight. Eric Schaefer looking to bounce back from last week, and off of his worst finish at Talladega at 11th a couple of weeks ago, he's looking to get back on top of the point standings and, most importantly, get his first win. Adam Alashire, he's been bouncing around the standings and the running order as of the last couple of weeks. We'll see what happens with the 91 on the front row. Eric Schaefer and Adam Alashire will bring him out of turn 4 and to the green flag. We're racing from Charlotte. Clean lap 1 for your race leader. Eric Schaefer gets away first, but not by much. Adam Alashire right on his heels. TJ Bursk already looking to attack on the inside of Kyle Benson. That'll be a fight for 3rd place. Coming out of turn 2, a bit of side-by-side action through the field before the whistle horn. Everybody settles in nicely. Gonna stay green here at lap number 2. Now here comes Alashire. Dart to the inside. Looks like he will not be able to make that pass out of turn 4. And So the 3 of Schaefer will have the upper hand to cross the line to complete lap number 2 and onwards to lap number 3. Bit of fighting around the latter half of the top 10. Ethan Fonseca Moreno looking to the inside of Lance Hill, and most of the field already looking to go to that double line on the inside, the double white line with the blue in the middle. That line is very important here at Charlotte. We'll dive into those details later on in the going as Colin Forrester makes his case known. This is for 7th, or rather 8th, as he'll look to the inside of the 43. He's got his teammate Lance Hill not too far away, and Colin Forrester, the driver out of Jacksonville, Florida, was looking to have his best finish of the season at Pocono. Ended up falling back a bit on strategy, had to pit late, and ended up inside the top 10 regardless after starting in 6th place. And so far, the season has turned out to be a nightmare for the Aaron's Dream Machine. And as he looks to the inside of Wyatt Brackett, he'll settle in for what might be P6 as of the moment. He'll go door to door with the Murray Reedy Motorsports Ford Mustang in the 10. As you watch TJ Bursk go to the inside of Lawson Peel, he'll give way, and your top 10 or so, mostly single file. We saw that 43 of Ethan Fonseca Moreno go to the inside of a couple of drivers about a couple of laps ago, but he has since filed it out single file, and for the entire field, they're going to look to do the same. Timothy Cooks looks to be making some progression on the very top side. He's entered the top 10. He'll look to the outside of Lance Hill this time by, but so far the field at the command of the 3-car, Eric Schaefer. But here comes Alashire, dart to the outside, and he's got a big run out of turn 2, battle for the lead, and give it to Adam Alashire. So a power move on the top gives Alashire the lead. It looks like the 43 of Moreno is doing the same. He takes the 3rd or 4th lane at the top of 3 and 4. He's got a good run on Colin Forrester. We'll keep an eye on that. First bit of action at the front in clean air for Adam Alashire in the 91. I believe this is the first time that car 91 has led a 4-wide race since Talladega. We saw him do that, be aggressive up front early. Unfortunately, did not quite pay out the way he wanted it to. Didn't result in a race win at all. But for Alashire, he's pushing things early, trying to send the envelope and extend his gap so far at 0.3 of a second and not slowing down. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, on the meanwhile, is on the attack on car 99. And he's been working the very top lane, so trying to make sure he can use all real estate available here in Charlotte. This track is rather multi-groove in a sense. They did update it a long time ago on iRacing to give it a bit more grip on the top, so you can make an outside move work. It just depends on how you are able to save your tires later in the race. And that'll be a big topic of conversation at Pocono. Of course, it was, with many guys getting into the outside wall and flirting with disaster. Example, car 38, Kyle Benson, who just fell to 5th on Lawson Peel, and the 98 makes a charge on the inside, but could not do much of it. You were dealing with a lot of understeer for the most part. Having that right front wear, you end up into the outside wall. We may see two sides of the plate here at Charlotte. In the case where you run up top, you wear that right rear a little more, as opposed to if you start pushing out of the corner, you'll see drivers get into that outside wall, and they'll be wearing that right front. Here's a look at Moreno in the 43. Dominated the last half of the Las Vegas race to capture his first career 4-wide racing TJ's Team Series win. And for the 43, I mean, he had a tough battle with his teammate Luke Knupp, who's nowhere to be seen right now. Car number 45, after starting pretty far back in the field, remains in 30th, as looks like trouble on the racetrack. Big crash on the back straightaway, and that does include Knupp. Jason Hastings is involved. Brandon Gillis in the 9 car severely torn up. And our first real accident happens on the back straightaway at lap number 11 to bring us our first caution of the night. Let's take a look and see exactly what might have happened this time through. So there's Knupp, car number 45. It's a 3-car pileup, so it begins really with the 49 of Jason Hastings, who's further up in the field. He goes against Richard Rico, that TJ's Team Toyota Camry. That 49 looks like he comes off the racetrack and just gets right into the 18, gets sent sideways, and poor Luke Knupp, nowhere to go as the 49 careens down the track, Brandon Gillis in the heart of that hurricane as well. Let's see if we can get a better look at it here from the 49. And it's just right up the racetrack into the 18, and as he comes down, obviously the 45 believes he has this wreck escaped. And unfortunately, it does not. Here's a look from Knupp. So he sees the wreck happen in front. And obviously, right decision is to come right down the racetrack and get out of harm's way. But he really intended to get away from that, ended up in the harm's path. And the 45 of Luke Knupp severely torn up early. And there are no fast repairs given in this 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series for Season 6. So if you do get damage that severe, you have to go into the garage or just take it down pit road and hope that the damage can be fixed in enough time for you to get back out on track, make minimum speed, and of course try to muster a finish here from Charlotte. For Brandon Gillis and for Luke Knupp, it looks like that will not be the story tonight. Both of them end up behind the wall. They are out of this race early. Here from Charlotte. So a tough break there for Knupp, who had an average finish of 8.14 going into tonight's race. He's definitely built up one of the most consistent seasons. If we're not talking Eric Schaefer, if we're not talking Ethan Fonseca Moreno or Lawson Peel, Luke Knupp is right there with him. The only driver that technically has a better average finish is Dane Cruz, but he's only made one start in this series, and that was a top 3 place finish at Pocono last Wednesday. So if we're talking the entire season run, Luke Knupp is definitely one of those contenders for best average finish and most consistency. And we were talking about it at the beginning of the show, his ability to close in on his teammate Moreno. They were starting to make it a fight. 3rd and 4th in the championship standings. This is going to be a big shunt to car number 45. And for the others involved, Brandon Gillis in the 9 car. I mean, he's been trying to find his footing all season long. Jason Hastings, the same for Drinkin' Bros Racing. And unfortunately, they will not see this race go past lap 13 for them, and they will be out as early as the first 10 or so down here from Concord, North Carolina. Jason Hastings, the technical team owner of Drinkin' Bros Racing 2, the driver out of Bakersfield, California. We've seen some good stuff out of Hastings over the season and even prior when we were racing the next-gen cars. But for Hastings, he is out of this race early. Brandon Gillis, the same story, and for Luke Knupp. That takes one BBR driver out of the race. So we'll try and double them up with the lights off on the iRacing official pace car. We'll try to get this back going at lap number 14. So a pretty powerful start by the 91 of Alishire, being able to make a move on the outside of Eric Schaefer. Question is, can he hold on to the race lead? It's all a matter of figuring out here, entering the restart zone. 91 up and away, gets away from the 3, able to clear before they get to turn 1 and even the kink of the tri-oval. Side by side for the 4th place spot. TJ Burske and Lawson Peel going at it. Looks like that's going to enter the podium. We're back under green from Charlotte. And now here comes TJ Burske, fighting all the way to turn 3. He makes a move on the inside of the 3 car. The teammate of the 12, Lawson Peel, giving support. Colin Forrester has made his name known early. He's going to look to the inside for a moment, give chase to that 94, but Schaefer will clear at the exit of 4. He'll hold on to second 4 now, but TJ Burske is making a fight out of it. Playing mostly single file. First battle is with Lawson Peel, but you won't get another battle until Jaden Porter back in 11th, trying to force his way into the top 10. And after what was an abysmal race at Pocono last week, Porter is definitely looking for a rebound. He started 19th in the race, ended up 30 seconds out of the big field at the Tricky Triangle. And how about this? 3 wide entering turn 1, but he backs out as he skips through the grass on the quad oval. He'll settle into 11th, but a really good start here for Jaden Porter in the 28. Defending series champion, won last time we were here, and it was under strategic circumstances. Him and Austin Reedy going at it for the last couple of laps. Reedy not strong enough on his set of tires, and obviously the strategy favored the 28 near the end of the race. Porter was able to pull away and had such consistent speed. Him and Lautenschlager, definitely certified names here at Charlotte in this series. The 13 won the season before to lock his way into the championship 5, and while the 13 was not able to succeed in winning a 4-wide title, it was still an impressive run and a very fast car late in the going. A driver who definitely knows how to save his stuff when the run gets long enough. And a beautiful new paint scheme here for the 13 as well. He'll get passed by the 28 of Porter, who slips into the top 10 for the first time tonight over 17 laps. Adam Aleshire continues to lead. First side-by-side battle is for 5th. Kyle Benson makes a move on the outside. An easy maneuver underneath Lawson Peel to take away the spot. The 12 car will relinquish it for now, but he'll try and look later. Ethan Fonseca Moreno not too far behind either. He skirts up high. He looks for some clean air, and that's going to be something that is notable here at Charlotte, and something we often saw with the next-gen car is just how much experimentation drivers were willing to do over the course of the race. And while you're right on board with the 13, who's basically at status quo, right? He's all the way at the bottom of the track. We're seeing the 43, the 12, and a couple of other guys make use of the top. While it isn't the most efficient line over the race, you probably could get a lot of momentum out of the corners, even out of turn 2. Be able to make a move on a driver. That's how you really set it up. We see a lot of that at Homestead Miami Speedway as well, where drivers utilize different lines, even if it's not the best on tires. Maybe use it once or twice over the course of the race to A, get clean air so they don't push understeer right behind another driver, and B, of course, try to get good momentum out of the 24 degrees of banking here at Charlotte. For now, most of the field wants to stay down there. Everybody's in a single file train for the most part. Different angles of attack going into the corner, but more than 100% through the field, everybody is at least trying to make inside happen for now. So Aleshire up by almost half a second. Eric Schaefer drifting up high. That opens the door for TJ Bursk to make his way into the inside. It looks like the 94 is still going to have a fight on his hands, but it's going to clear the Busch Light Chevrolet. He'll step into second and have his next objective on hand to try and catch car number 91. Now, the 94 of Bursk is listed as top 15 in the point standings, but because of the way it is here in these 4-wide racing TJ's Team Series for Season 6, you have 12 drivers that make it in either on wins and on points, and then you have 2 wild card drivers, 13th and 14th. Now, the requirements for getting into those wild card spots is A, run 2 options here. If you win a race in the season and have at least a 65% attendance rate over the year, you'll be able to grab that ticket, make a wild card spot in the playoffs. Now, if you don't find yourself in that scenario, if you don't have a win, but you do make all the races, then they just go flat out strictly on points. And for TJ Bursk, currently he would be in a wild card spot, despite the fact that he is 15th in the point standings. He would have the upper hand over guys like AJ Green and Michael Newbraw. And even Trevor Haley, Austin Reedy, those guys who are further up in the standings, Bursk would have the upper hand with that win that he captured at Phoenix Raceway. And we know TJ as one of the strongest drivers in this series, and while Bursk didn't necessarily come away with a dominant win at Pocono, it was still a 4th place finish after starting in 18th. So a very good start here for the driver of the 94 and Bursk on an independent team. We calculated him as Stocks Motorsports early in the season, but he's all by himself on his own camp. And he slowly tries to track down Adam Aleshire and make it a fight for the race lead, but seems to be the most calm racing for now. A bit of action near the midfield, especially around top 20. You're seeing a long line of cars following Michael Newbraw. There's the 71 of Curtis Kelly. You're looking at the 75 of Nicholas Fazzuti, Craig Parks, rookie Ryan Pangicio, who has definitely made a statement as of late that Nexus Esports Toyota Supra for the Skybox team, newly formed for Season 6, has definitely put a stranglehold on the rookie field, at least for a little while. He's just calmly riding where he's at. We're having a big fight, though, around the top 10. Jaden Porter, AJ Green fight for 10th out of turn 4. Good battle building up. 48's going to be able to clear. For Porter, he'll slot back into 11th. And this long line, starting with 9th place Lance Hill, is starting to drift away from Wyatt Brackett, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, and looks like they're living on borrowed time right now as we get 27 laps in. We are eventually, if we stay green, going to end up in a situation where green flag pit stops are going to matter. But like we saw in that first caution, it somewhat gave a breather to those fighting for position. AJ Green with a big swing on the inside of his teammate. Looks like the one up Hill, not the best exit out of the corner. And so here comes Porter back for the action. How about side-by-side further back? This is for 12th place. Rather 13th. Brandon Banks, Jesse Priest, Kevin D'Elia going at it. And D'Elia not able to hold on to his spot. Driver out of St. Charles, Illinois, has been one of the more consistent guys this season. He finished 19th at Pocono just 1 week ago, and it wasn't the greatest race for the 53, but you see some good stuff out of D'Elia so far this season, and you can never really count him out. He's a consistent driver when it matters the most, and while he isn't top 15 in the point standings, as some of the DNFs have hit him as of late, might be one driver to watch for as we get later on in this season. We're still side-by-side for 10th, by the way. Jaden Porter still on the inside of Lance Hill, not able to break away. And that WWEX Racing Toyota doing a fantastic job of holding out front of this group. Craig Lautenslager going to slot to the inside. The 54 of Brandon Banks going to make his way on the bottom as well. Now Lance Hill, also a driver who has struggled a bit this season. It's taken him a little longer than usual to get on the right footing, but the driver of the one certainly has been able to get accustomed to this Xfinity car a little more. And as of last week at Pocono, he came away with 13th. Not the worst finish ever, but certainly one that is worthy of note. Not one that he would like to highlight either. As Brandon Banks goes to the inside, and the one car will fall to 13th. Jesse Priest will head to the inside. And the one car, him, the 99 of Colin Forrester, both of them at Stonks Motorsports. Some of the heavy hitters in this series have struggled quite a bit with this new Xfinity Series car. And again, throwing a wrench into the entire season outlook for guys when you don't have a faster car. So if you get caught up in a situation early, if you have enough damage, you're basically out of the race. And this car acts very different, handles very differently to the next-gen machines, that we ran the last 2 seasons in 4-wide competition. Eric Schaefer makes a move on the outside of Adam Allenshire, but I mean, that's a topic of conversation that is going to be always prevalent over the year. Who can adapt faster? Who will be able to make sure that they can outlast the others when it comes down to nailing the aspects of this Xfinity Series car and getting to work for a championship? You did not see the battle for the race lead develop because it was rather short-lived. The 94 of TJ Bursk made his way up front, got in front of Adam Allenshire, and 32 laps in on this green flag stint, the 94 up by 4/10 of a second and almost half a second over the 3 of Eric Schaefer, who found his way back to second place. Lawson Peel ends up on the inside of Colin Forrester. This is going to be for 4th. Kyle Benson and Ethan Fonseca Moreno have gone nose to tail. They're possibly going at it for the 6th place position. And then the last car in this mix is Wyatt Brackett. You saw this Camping World Good Sam Ford Mustang on the highlights when he was coming down pit road. Wyatt Brackett has also definitely put his name in the ring. Couple of consistent finishes. We saw him do well at Talladega. Almost got the win, barely over Brandon Banks, but still was short to the start-finish line. Brackett has performed a little more consistently over the last couple of events as he tails this 8-car pack, all single file. And you can see the distance back to AJ Green, who has been able to survive the melee that went on in that second group. Lance Hill has tumbled all the way to 14th, and now Brandon Banks will make a fight to the inside on Jaden Porter for position, and makes it an easy one. The number 54 up to 11th, trying to catch up to 10th. And while looking at some of these stats from the last couple of seasons, we mentioned that Lawson Peel has been able to grab wins in the 3 consecutive seasons over the last couple of months. And the 54 is the second driver in that group. 54 has been able to capture 2 wins basically per season, and he grabbed 1 already at Talladega, so he's been able to go 3 straight seasons with at least 1 win in the back pocket. And he's definitely built his way up through this race. He's up to 11th. Working the middle lane here, he'll bring his Drinkin' Bros Racing teammate Jesse Prees in the 0-0 with him. They try to catch Lautenschlager and Green. They might make it a fight for the position ahead of them, but for now seems to be mostly single file. Eric Schaefer is pushing away from his teammate Lawson Peel. They're starting to drown out Adam Alashire, who's starting to struggle a bit more on his set of tires. And as we grow, 36 laps, now 37 into tonight's race from Charlotte, we are entering green flag pit stop territory. So you can imagine later in this race, and it probably will be sooner at this stage, that drivers will start to get that pitting in signal, start to get that virtual hand out the window. We'll see more pit strategy calls over the race. Lawson Peel was able to completely masterclass the field last week at Pocono with his strategy to stay out 28 laps. He only pitted twice in the race. Some drivers had to pit 3 times over the course of the night when there were absolutely no yellows in the event. And it certainly shook up the field quite a bit. So we'll see if the same follows here at Charlotte, or if there's more of a consensus on when to come down pit road, and it'll probably be more even. But for right now, no one has an answer to TJ Bursk, who has put the question out in front. Who can beat me once we get into the long run? Eric Schaefer might try and give him that answer later on, but he's falling 0.7 of a second short and a little bit slower last time we crossed the start-finish line. 30.099 for car number 3, 30.070 for the race leader. As here's Moreno on the inside of Alashire for 5th. This 5-car battle with the 91 up top. And remember how we talked about separation back to 9th place, Craig Lautenschlager. That's starting to close in quite a bit. The 13 has been able to get around the 48. He found his way through the 54. And like we talked about earlier, 13 knows a thing or two about surviving on long runs and being able to make things happen on worn-out tires. And this beautiful 13 car making a debut scheme tonight has been picking up the pace. He put a lap almost 2/10 faster than Wyatt Brackett and company right in front of him. They're putting 32 twos on the board. He's still putting 32 flats, similar to some of the race leaders. So the 13 is a man on a mission right now, 41 laps in. Lautenschlager came home 12th at Pocono last week. And he's also, much like more of the Murray Beatty Motorsports camp, just trying to settle himself out through the season. It's slowly gotten better for him, much like guys Austin Reedy, and of course the 36 of Tyler Murray, who's built up one of the more consistent seasons to date. He's a battle for 20th, though, further back between 2 of the newer team drivers in this field. Curtis Kelly for Skybox, new team this season. And Patrick Thompson in the blue and black Mountain Dew colors, rookie driver. Nice fight in a tight pack behind Michael Newbraw. This is from 17th on back. Or rather 18th on back. 17th Ryan Pandicio, just a couple of seconds up the road. And then they're going to approach Lance Hill, who has certainly been on the back foot. And the same goes for Jaden Porter, 15th and 16th for both of those guys right now. It's been a tough journey backwards through the field. We'll look on board with the driver of the 28. The Louisville, Kentucky native who was able to grab a win last time we were here. He's just currently hanging out where he's at, and he fell to some connectivity issues last week at the Tricky Triangle, and again, hence to the top 35 finish that he accrued. As here come some drivers on pit road, and more of them are the leaders. Eric Schaefer and them are coming in for a piece of pit stop service. So they're going to be on their way through the 3-car of Eric Schaefer. He is in. Race leader TJ Bursk has not decided whether he wants to extend this at least one more lap or push it further than that. The 3-car ends up in. No significant problems on pit road, and here come the top 2. Bursk, Peel, maybe even Moreno. All of them going to come in. Moreno sideways, and you'll be able to keep it straight for the most part. A hectic entrance on pit road for Ethan Fonseca Moreno, but he keeps it collected. Craig Lautenschlager will stay out and take the lead as a result, but a sketchy pit road entrance for the 43, and it pays off. And much like Las Vegas, Homestead, Miami, Charlotte Motor Speedway is a tough place to get on a pit road at full speed. And look at him sideways from the jump as he hopped on the brakes. That car was way out of shape, and he was able to gather it all up. And the same goes for the 12. Credit to Lawson Peel for keeping that car together. And so the strategy will continue. Craig Lautenschlager is in. He brings in Brandon Banks, the 34 of Austin Reedy, a brand new Speedco machine for Reedy, who's been able to slowly creep up in the point standings. The car 34 had a rough start to the season, and so far he's been able to gain his experience with this Xfinity Series car, and now he's putting his head down and pushing forward. The 34 grabs 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. He's off and away. He'll try and beat the 54 out of pit road with a pretty quick top, but the Reese's dipped machine will be on his way through. Patrick Thompson will take the lead as a result. We should expect him to come down pit road sooner than later. In a green flag run here from Charlotte Motor Speedway, 47 laps and only 1 caution so far. You're watching coverage of the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series live on the KBueno Racing Network. Welcome back to Charlotte. Coverage of the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series is brought to you by iRacing. Get your sim racing career started today at iRacing.com. By TJ's Team. To learn more about the Foundation's mission to end pediatric cancer, go to wearmorethancape.com. And by Paul's Setup Shop. It's been a rather green affair here from Charlotte. We have an unbelievable 4-way battle for the net race lead. Jeff No, Cody Kinsey, and Richard Rico have not come down pit road. 52 laps in. These guys they were leading up front. Now here comes TJ Bursk with a fight to the inside, and he's got it. Net race lead acquired over Eric Schaefer. And while the 14, 2, and 18 stay out, they are now 41 laps into their stint. They pitted on the first yellow flag of the evening, which involved the 49 of Jason Hastings, Brandon Gillis in the 9, and Luke Knupp in the 45. Took them out early after a huge stack up on the back straightaway, caused them all to unfortunately ditch out of this race. This is an unbelievable battle, building two Drinkin' Bros Racing teammates, an independent, and the driver who dominated the last sector of the Las Vegas race just a couple of weeks ago to grab his first career victory. Richard Rico finally makes his decision. He's in his Toyota Camry, the MTC Esports car, he comes in. Jeff No and Cody Kinsey are going to stay out at least another lap, and the 14 will have a chance to lead some more up front. Pretty good run for Jeff No building up tonight. And as we looked through the point standings, and we mentioned 4 out of the top 10 are rookies, well, No is one of them with 181 points, not too far away from his other rookie driver, in front by 1, Ryan Pandicio in the 63, and then the other rookies, of course, Luke Knapp and Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who have been stellar to start. The 14, though, he's been sneaky fast, and here he comes, slowing down on a pit road. Cody Kinsey in the Wawa Chevrolet Camaro is next up on the block, but for now, he is going to stay out using the middle lane. Net race lead still in the hands of TJ Burst, but it's not coming without a fight. Lawson Peel, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Eric Schaefer, and now add in Colin Forrester to the equation, maybe even AJ Green, to potentially make it 6 cars in this fight for P1 later on in this race. And as Jeff No relinquishes all of his track position to come in, the 43 charging on the high side. He'll make a move on car number 12. He looks for the net race lead now. A big run on Burst entering turn 3. And he's been one of the only guys to power on the outside. He does it this time out of turn 4. He'll get right to the quarter panel of TJ Burst's Chevrolet Camaro, and to the line, Ethan Fonseca Moreno will have a sniff at the net race lead. Cody Kinsey is still yet to stay on pit road. He is going to stay out at least another lap. They're about 8 or so seconds behind the 2 car, but we should expect Kinsey to come down sooner than later. And Moreno to the front for the first time tonight from Charlotte. Well, now here comes Kinsey. The Wawa Chevrolet calls it over on his long green flag stint. Beautiful Chevrolet Camaro for Kinsey this evening. He'll take it down pit road. He is in for 4 fresh tires and some fuel. Kinsey, the driver out of Keystone Heights, Florida, and one of the fellow Florida drivers in this field alongside Colin Forrester in the 99. Not really that many Florida drivers in this field, unless you count my colleague in the booth most of the time, Francisco Bacallao, who happens to make some starts here and there in the series, but not full-time. But a great-looking paint scheme and a good run building for Kinsey so far. Really clean race for him up until lap number 60. Moreno has pushed away the 94 of Burst to the tune of 0.3 of a second. This is a brand-new paint scheme, by the way. Now, if you remember watching the Homestead Miami Speedway race a couple of days ago in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, you'd recognize this paint scheme from Alpha Prime Racing. Ryan Ellis taking this car to the green flag and to the checkered in South Florida. And it's a beautiful scheme whipped up by Austin Duran, familiar name if you've been avid of watching the KBueno Racing Network as of the last couple of months. He was in the Work Dynamo Designs National Series in the first 2 seasons. And so Duran Designs whipped up this beautiful Miami Vice-inspired paint scheme with Ethan Fonseca Moreno, his name on the name pillar. And so far, he has been performing quite great so far tonight, but just typical of his performance at 1.5-mile tracks. And I remember he posted in the KBueno Racing Discord about a couple of days ago, just reminiscing on the 1-year anniversary of that fateful WARC Las Vegas Xfinity race, where he was dominating a good chunk of it in a Ford Mustang. He drove a Cole Custer-inspired paint scheme, but Moreno now in Chevrolet, dipped in pink, blue, and purple, and even a bit of dark purple, midnight purple, in fact. He's now leading this race, lap 61. We still have, though, 106 laps to go from Charlotte. More drivers are coming in. They're starting to settle out on the tire discrepancy. Here's a 3-way fight for around 8th place. Adam Alashire, former leader in tonight's outing from Charlotte. He's trying to play defense on the 54 of Brandon Banks, the 10 of Wyatt Brackett. And all 3 of them having decent races tonight as they're settling in on their tire stints. And pretty much everybody's in the same place. Jesse Prees back in 11th. Austin Reedy, though, has been able to slowly work his way up to 12th. He started tonight in 32nd place. And again, one of those guys that I mentioned who has struggled in the first couple of races in this season. It has taken him a bit to get his foot settled. But once he's been able to kind of hunker down and get to work, the 34 has been very, very stout throughout the season, and he's slowly building his resume and could be knocking on the door of a race win as further up the road his teammate Wyatt Brackett gets to the outside of Alamadelshire, and they're going to make it a fight for the last spot inside the top 10. So here's second, third, and fourth. Bursk, Peel, and Schaefer tucking in behind the 82 of Eric Stewart, who has just gone a lap down in 30th. Cody Kinsey, Richard Rico, they are also a lap down for staying out as long as they did. Jason Hastings is back out on the track, but he was on pit road. He's 54, now 55 laps down, trying to get some repairs. And there's Jeff Noe, one of the latest to come in. Him and David Brackett might go at it, and this is going to be for 27th and some of the last spots before you end up in that territory of one lap down or more. So the 43 slips down just about maybe a foot over that blue and white line at the bottom end of the racetrack. Probably not the preferred line here at Charlotte. You want to have the left sides on that paint. Gives you a bit of extra rotation and some grip in the corners. But the 43 has pushed on early. He's holding on to about a half a second lead over TJ Bursk. Lawson Peel right on the 94's doorstep. Basically, Eric Schaefer, the teammate on Drinkin' Bros Racing, he's not far behind either, and they have set themselves apart from the Stonks Motorsports Toyota Supras. They are building up a pretty good night this evening. Colin Forrester leading by about a car length or two to the 48 of AJ Green, and they are a couple of car lengths off the 82 of Eric Stewart. So while we stay under green on our longest run of the night, why don't we turn down my commentary audio and turn up the race audio? Go crank it up here on the KBueno Racing Network. Ethan Fonseca Moreno continues to lead this race And the gap is up to 0.6 of a second and almost 7. Here as Lawson Peel, Eric Schaefer complete the current top 4. And they have broken away sincerely to Colin Forrester in the 99. And the 43 of Moreno led 30 laps last week at Pocono. And while that sounds rather typical, like a day in the office for the 43 or any driver who ran up front last week, he was one of only 2 drivers to lead laps that night. Lawson Peel was the other. He led a race-high 50 and basically brought it all the way home with the 43. You could make a case that if he had not been in that situation where he was forced to save fuel to try and get to the checkered, he might have been right there with the 12 to get his second win of the season. And the 12 last week, we talked about it, broke a spell of different winners in the season. That included Moreno, who got his first career win at Las Vegas a couple of weeks prior. And so Moreno might just be the driver to do it all over again, be the second driver to have 2 wins on the season and keep himself right on par with the 12. As there was this battle decided for 5th place, Forrester falling to the clutches of the Beef Toyota of AJ Green, who finished in 16th at Pocono. Not the greatest season for him so far, but he's definitely made some of his moments count, and he's been right then when at least it matters most to get some decent points. He's had 2 finishes inside the top 20. His first top 5 came at Las Vegas about a couple of weeks ago. So he holds on to this spot, and they put Cody Kinsey a lap down. Kyle Benson might come into the fray as well. Him and Brandon Banks are slowly starting to creep up on Forrester's 99, and Benson definitely wanted a better night than Pocono. And there's definitely been races where he's had fast cars, but mistakes and little things here and there have kept him out of contention. At Pocono, it was a strike to the outside wall, bit of damage, and just got forced into a precarious situation late. Then you look at immediately Phoenix Raceway, where he had a competitive car to either run for the win if things went right, or run for a top 5 or a podium position. But unfortunately, on cold tires, him and Luke Knupp went sideways, got involved in a crash that took them both out of the race. So Kyle Benson has had somewhat of a hit or miss season so far with this Xfinity Series car, but he has been quick. He was the Championship 5 driver for last season for a reason. He's been able to be competitive no matter what we run and no matter what tracks we face on the schedule. But Benson is starting to pick up the long run speed. He was about 0.2 quicker than Forrester the last time by, now a little more even. But car 38 is right there where he wants him. And Forrester is in striking distance, so we might just see a potential pass for position happen a little later. We are sort of skipping into our second green flag run of the evening. We are lap 78 in of 167. These cars are now reaching 34, 35 laps on their stint, give or take, whoever pitted here and there. And remember those drivers who pitted way earlier, guys like Richard Rico, guys like Cody Kinsey, guys like Jeff No, they have sort of scattered amongst the field, but they are further back in the running order. We should expect them to stay out as we get closer to the end of this run, which, speaking of run, it might end up in a battle for the lead once they come down pit road, because the gap is slowly decreasing. It was about 1/10 of a second of difference to the good of TJ Bursk, and he continues to put faster laps than Moreno. And earlier, like I said, he is pushing out that question of who can beat me on the long run. For right now, as we approach halfway in this race, he has not received an answer. Moreno is starting to slowly creep backwards. Car number 94 might be on his way back to the front of the field. And Bursk, over the course of the season, is second on the laps led category. He is definitely added to that tally tonight, but he came into this race with 173 laps led on the season. Very impressive. I mean, still a far cry from Luke Knupp's 264, but if he adds more laps, he's got 14 laps led tonight he continues to add more, might just put himself in that list, and he's got, of course, that one win like we talked about. Just a driver that knows a thing or two about getting to the front and does it in any means necessary. And it doesn't matter what car track combo it is, TJ Bursk is still a definite strong driver, and of course it's recognized by his iRating, 5.8K, and while it isn't better than Lawson Peel's 7.1K on the sim, Bursk is one of those guys to look out for. And he is now getting to the rear bumper of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. The question will be, who will strike down pit road first in this group? We saw Curtis Kelly in the 71 come down, a rather early stop for him. He's already 4 laps out. He is 1 lap down, just trying to make a severe undercut strategy work. No one else has even decided to look down to the pit lane and make a decision. So here comes Bursk. Right on the back bumper of the 43. Challenge incoming. He'll stay right behind into turn 3. He'll drift up high for a bit of the clean air and rotation. You can tell Moreno is sliding up just to give him a hint of dirty air. He does. Right in front out of the hill in turn 4. The 94 will not have the move. Now he gives it a strike. He puts his nose to the inside of the 43's quarter panel. We are side by side for the lead at Charlotte. Moreno will try and build up a run out of 4. Potential crossover in the making. He ducks low, but is sent with the door shut. TJ Bursk back to the front at lap 84. And just a methodical way of saving his rubber until it matters in the long run, and he is able to hold himself out. Moreno is not going away without a fight, though. He's going to offer more resistance. While they do that, it could open the door for Lawson Peel, who found himself in a very interesting strategy situation the last time we were here. I remember having a conversation with Francisco in the booth with me at the time about switching lanes here at Charlotte and then trying to fight the 28 over a long run. And both of them were nose to tail for a while, similar to how you're seeing these leaders play it out right now. But as the 43 and 94 pressure each other a little more as they approach lap traffic, Lawson Peel has an open door waiting for him, especially as strategy comes into the mix. They're starting to float higher and higher. That 12 is staying committed near that blue and white yellow line, or yellow double line, as I should say. Excuse me there. That's excuse me with Daytona and Talladega, double yellow lines at the bottom end of the racetrack. But here comes the 12. Now he sends it in, 43, about 2 or 3 lanes up high. And Peel will have a chance at grabbing second away. Eric Schaefer not too far on the outskirts either. And the 12 will make this pass as we do have callers for pit road. AJ Green and Colin Forrester, the pair of Stonks Motorsports teammates, in for strategy at lap 87. So they're coming in for their respective stops, and we should see at least one more pit strategy sequence come in if we stay green before this race is over. These guys will be able to go to about lap 120 to lap 130, and then, of course, that last pit stop will take you to the very end of the race. Here comes the 38, hot on the brakes. And the Flying J car comes flying into pit road, but he does a nice job of holding on to the binders, and he will come down pit road. There's Michael Newbraw, who ends his way in. Looks like Nicholas Fizzuti, Ryan Pandiccio, Jaden Porter among those in. He will bring in the 29 of Timothy Cook. And now for the leaders, second and third, Lawson Peel and Ethan Fonseca Moreno in. They bring in Tyler Murray now, Brandon Banks, and Austin Reedy. We're having more of a bulk come down pit road than just little by little. We've had definitely chunks come in here and there, but at the front of the field, it's been rather sparse. You see one driver come in every now and then, but for the moment, we're seeing more packs end up on pit road as of late. TJ Bursk is going to hop on the brakes. He'll try and get by a lap car, David Brackett. He makes pit road speed limit. And so your race leader is in at lap number 89. That's as far as he could extend his stint. Big time damage to the 13 of Craig Lounslauger. And it looks like there might have been something that happened, as we also might have had an incident with Ryan Pandiccio in the 63. We'll take a look at this first before we try and dial exactly what happened to the 13, and we'll see if there even was a problem here with Pandiccio. And no, it just looks like a normal blend, so apologies there. But for Craig Lounslager, I'm not entirely sure what happened to him before he came in, and I believe it might have been somebody who got into him entering pit road. We'll see this as he comes in. That's Patrick Thompson in the 88 right behind, who currently leads this race. And so typical run through the corner for the 13, run of the mill, and right, I believe there is where the bumper gets ripped off. Doesn't appear like that would be significant damage to the 13, but it is. And so he does come away with a bent rear bumper. Patrick Thompson is going to stay out. Curtis Kelly, it looks like he's in the midst of a battle with AJ Green. This is for 7th. And there's the Tornadoes, number 36. We haven't called Tyler Murray's name out much of tonight, but he has fallen one lap down, is looking for the lucky dog position or just to unlap himself as everybody else comes in, which that should settle itself out a little bit later in this race. And Patrick Thompson will hold out front. TJ Bursk will have control of the net race lead if he can get by Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who's a couple of car lengths in front and made that undercut decision with Lawson Peel. You can see right off the back bumper of the KBRN number 43, that gap is lengthy. But again, we talked about TJ Bursk's ability to outlast on long run speed. So Moreno might just be in a situation where he is pushing on his set of tires. They're going to get by Cody Kinsey, which is not good news for the Wawa Chevrolet. So Kinsey will just have to settle with what he's got. As Jeff Noe in the 14 for MTC Esports. Rookie driver should be next to come in, and that should cycle out the race lead to Ethan Fonseca Moreno in the number 43. AJ Green has found his way to 5th. Nice placement here for the Beef Toyota Supra. Remember, he was in that fight with his teammate Colin Forrester, but the 48 driver out of Winchester, Tennessee, rather out of North Carolina. Winchester, Tennessee is Lance Hill. Apologies on that, but the North Carolina native has definitely performed well at this 1.5 miler. And he is just looking to garner those well-needed points to keep himself alive in that playoff race. He came into this event 14th in the point standings, and we mentioned the complications with the requirements to get into the wild card spot and how AJ Green is sort of there now on points, but not necessarily, just because of TJ Burska's win on the season and so far his more than 65% attendance rate of races. And so AJ Green just looking to garner some well-needed points. He will gain on drivers like Luke Knupp, who was out of this race. He will gain on Trevor Haley, who came into this race 2 spots, 2 points in front of him. Austin Reedy, who has sort of meandered around the top 15. Still some needed points over him. Then, of course, Craig Lounslager, who suffered that damage. Jaden Porter, who's behind him. And then you have Kyle Benson, Jeff Noe, Pandicio, and you name it. The list goes on and on. AJ Green, with that hefty list of cars, could be able to top them by the time the night is over, as we will approach 67 laps to go at the lap 100 mark. Jeff Noe 8.5 seconds over the second place car in Ethan Fonseca Moreno, and he will stay an extra lap. He is 41 laps into his stint, and you can tell just how much you have to let off the gas pedal, and even then how he's modulating out of the corner. We discussed it a little earlier on tonight, just in the way that understeer and oversteer become a big topic at these 1.5 mile tracks, where they really wear out the tires. And the 14, who has certainly worn out his tires past their welcome, he's starting to suffer that understeer effect, but he is going to remain out. Caution flag is away, and it's Curtis Kelly with hard contact, and he is in trouble in what appears to be turns 1 and 2. We gotta take a look at exactly what happened to the 71 of Curtis Kelly, who was torn up. And that is indeed turns 1 and 2 we were talking about. There's Austin Reedy going around. Curtis Kelly had yet to pit. Jesse Prees just trying to get by on fresh tires. He goes to the outside. Curtis Kelly drifts up way high, and as they're right there, it looks like the space runs out, and the 00 forced in a position where he makes that contact with Kelly and sends him around. And Jaden Porter comes slamming in. We just missed that, but we'll look at it one more time. And here's a look on board from Kelly. So you'll see him come up the quad oval. And it appears he doesn't give as much space to the 00 as he was anticipating. He careens down the track. Jaden Porter is trying to get through. And a hard hit for the 28 of Porter. And here's a look from the 28, way beyond this incident, but unfortunately gets caught up at lap 98 and brings us our second caution of the night. Bam. That's such a hard hit. We're not entirely sure whether engine damage is in the equation here for Porter. But the bad news for the KBRN Chevrolet is that he will have to come down pit road and get that damage fixed. For Jeff No, he is going to have the freshest tires in the field. He had the opportunity to come down pit road, and looks like he is only back to 6th place. As a result, Kyle Benson did come down with him, so a good amount of the field, 5th on back, did end up on pit road. Everybody 1st through 4th had to end. And that green flag stint staying out, and there's Curtis Kelly's battered and bruised number 71. He'll bring the Skybox Toyota to pit road, and everybody else behind him will follow. A lot of them lapped machines. And that makes it approximately 20-odd cars on the lead lap. Jaden Porter, of course, was the last car, but he will fall 1 lap down, so that makes it 22 with the Spotify car in Trevor Haley being the first car to not be put a lap down here under this most recent yellow. So about everybody in the field had an opportunity to come down pit road, and they did. Jeff No was the only one to stay out that long before the caution came out, so really no complications about drivers being forced a lap down because they get penalized as the caution waved. A lot of them were still racing on the track, so no problem for them, and specifically no problem for the leaders. And it was interesting because Ethan Fonseca Moreno was leading this race. He came down pit road with the majority of the field. He has fallen to that 6th place position. Let's see if we can dial up the driver of the number 28 in Jaden Porter, who unfortunately gets collected in this most recent caution here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we'll get a word in with the defending champ as we have a chance to talk with Jaden. You got a copy with us?
Yeah, I do.
All right, Jaden, well, a really tough scenario there. You saw the 71 coming down. What was happening in your perspective? And just talk us through your thoughts after that crash.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a bonehead move by me. I guess I should have just slowed down a lot more, but the caution came out so late. I didn't know if there was going to be a caution. I lifted, I went down, and with my luck, the 71 went down the track into me. So, it's a rough race again.
It's a rough one for you, but you head to Bristol Motor Speedway next week. Of course, there is still some time to get back in this race, but are you just now moving forward to Bristol, or is your task at hand just get what you can here at Charlotte, then move forward?
If it becomes a wreck fest, get what I can, but mainly just move forward to Bristol. Bristol is usually a good track for me in really any car, so hopefully I'll have speed I had last season there next week, but I just need some luck, honestly.
Well, we certainly appreciate the time. Tough break for you here in the 28 team here from Charlotte. Best of luck. Hopefully you can get back in this race, but if not, we'll see you at Bristol.
All right, thank you.
So that's Jaden Porter in the 28. Have a chance to talk to him before we get back to green flag action. This restart at lap 102. TJ Bursk, the race leader. Lawson Peel on his outside in row number 1. Eric Schaefer and Kyle Benson to settle in row number 2. Jeff No inside the top 5 with Ethan Fonseca Moreno in row number 3. No and Moreno and Benson, they are all on fresh tires with everyone behind them. Now, Benson did come in for a 6.3 second stop, so we presume that is not 4 tires, but everybody Jeff No on back, they all have fresh Goodyear Eagles. Lap 102, green flag restart. Bursk has the control, and he'll bring the field back to turn 1. Solid start by Burst, keeps him ahead by 0.3 of a second and counting. They're fighting now for third. Peel is going to shut the door, give the draft to his teammate Eric Schaefer, entering turn 3. And Benson again did not presumably took tires on that stop, but the 43 did. So did Colin Forrester in the 99. He's going to make his way to the inside for position number 4 into turn 1 this time. And Benson's going to swing way up high, try to get the aero bubble off of that outside wall, but it is no match for Forrester's momentum. Entering turn 3, he will bring the 43 car of Fonseca Moreno with him. It looks like Brandon Banks, AJ Green, Jeff No, all of them building a single file train on the bottom of the racetrack with the freshest tires in the field. Now, it's not by much. It's by about 11 laps or so, but that could make a monumental difference over this run, and it could give the chance for these guys to save a little more as the screen frac strategy plays in. You're right on board with the 43. Now the 99 goes to the inside for third on Schaefer in a turn 3. Now three-way fight for position behind them. Brandon Banks on the outside of AJ Green. They're starting to hip check each other a little bit. Kyle Benson sort of getting bullied in all of this. The 3 car gets sent down to the apron, and he's going to be able to save it. He skips over the bumps on the apron on the back straightaway, but the 3 car prohibits a yellow from coming out and keeps control. He will stack up everybody on the latter half of this top 10. But I believe he made slight contact with the 43 of Moreno as he came up in turns 1 and 2. Take a look. And you can hear the tire screaming. That right front just grasping for some sort of grip. And the 3 car ends up unsettled. But fortunately, he keeps it straight. Now the 12 of Lawson Peel dealing with the effects of being an old tire car. Same with TJ Bursk, and the 99 of Colin Forrester will get the chance to lead laps here at Charlotte, the 43, trying to chase the 94 into the first 2 corners. And so this poses the question over the next 60 or so laps, how will this strategy either make or break a race win chance for guys like Forrester or Moreno or Jeff No or AJ Green or anyone that pitted under that last caution flag? And for these guys who stayed out on the most recent stint, it was a total of about 4 or so guys now approaching lap 20 on their set of Goodyear Eagles. How will that affect them? Because if we do stay green, they're coming in pit road earlier, but these guys who stay out will have at least 10 or more laps on their belt. They're going to be able to stay out on track, build a decent gap, even though these guys will get fresh tires. But then when they come down pit road, they will have the fresher tires if they have that last set in tow. So it'll be a very interesting conversation, and we might have to come down to the wire on that one as Austin Reedy makes a charge on the inside of Eric Schaefer. And this is really the first time that car number 3 has fallen out of the top 10 just based on raw pace alone. Schaefer on the older set of tires is slowly drifting backwards, but probably keeping in mind that calm perspective of, hey, they've got fresh tires, that makes sense. But far and away, I'm one of the best drivers on the racetrack if we're just talking mano-a-mano, not tire versus tire. So Schaefer is just going to stay patient where he's at. He has dropped to 11th. Patrick Thompson is the next car in line in car number 88. Second car pack building up behind Patrick and Eric is Ryan Pandiccio. Trevor Haley right behind him in a brand new Spotify Ford Mustang look for the rookie driver. Tony Kivitt, we haven't talked about him much of tonight, but the 76 in his Paul's Automotive Group, Chevrolet Camaro, just riding inside the top 15, and no harm, no foul for Kivitt, who finished 23rd at Pocono last week. So he's staying where he's at, just trying to get what he can, and Kyle Benson also on the back foot. He has dropped to 18th. Kevin DeLeo, Michael Newbraw giving him a run for his money. Now, while Colin Forrester is out as we cross the line for lap 112, how will he survive now that he gets a grip of fresh air for the first time all night long. And what will the 43 have in response? Him and Brandon Banks are slowly catching up. They are putting slightly faster laps than the Aaron's Dream Machine. And we know that Moreno was one of the better ones on the long run. If it's not the 94 TJ Burst, it has to be the 43. And so we'll keep an eye on the San Jose, California driver of Moreno, who is aiming for his second win of the season and his second straight at a 1.5-mile track. Seems to be his bread and butter, and he really catches up to the 99 of Forrester entering turn 1. Got a glimpse of the draft, and look at this attempted slight crossover, just getting a sharper line on the bottom, and we're seeing a bit of that from the 43. He drifts up high, just tries to get rotation on the car. You see him a couple lanes off of the very bottom. Right about here, rotates the car and stays on that seam in the middle of the racetrack. But in 1 and 2, very interesting to see how he just darts for the bottom and waits for that 99 to come up. He's going to go this time by, this time with a nose on the outside officially. Battle for the race lead, a lap 114. And there's a crossover attempt by Moreno. He goes to the inside. Forrester deals in the block, and the 43 will say, I'll take the high road. He'll go to the seam in the middle of 3 and 4. The 99 has to check up quite a bit. We are door to door for P1 still. Cross of the line, lap 115, and the 43 got the lead again. And what a race it's been by the 43. And had it not been for the 94 of TJ Burst leading some laps of his own, we might be talking about Moreno domination. He clears Forrester for the lead, and now does Forrester get swarmed up by the Wolves, or is he going to be able to withstand the pack that's right behind him? Brandon Banks, AJ Green, Jeff No, Jesse Prees, those rounding out the top 6. And it's further separated when you get to the near end of the top 10 as we're side by side. How about for 11th, Ryan Pandiccio, Patrick Thompson for position. Ninth place starter at Pocono, 22nd place finisher. Pandiccio has seen a bulk of the ups and downs. Talladega was a short test of the rookie's ability to get back into the fight near the end. He got spun late in the race, and he's going to try and get underneath the Season 4 champ, so Peel will have to back out of the way. Old tires, really nothing you can do. Burst and Peel on the mercy of being settled outside of the top 10. That's going to be big for them. And again, it goes back to that topic of conversation I brought up about pit strategy, how that will affect these guys moving forward, most notably if we stay green. Battle for second decided. Brandon Banks has scurried his way into that second place position. Colin Forrester with his teammate AJ Green behind him. They'll make a 3-car pack. Second on back. So right now, it's the 43's race to lose. Ethan Fonseca Moreno leading a lap 118. We'll take a short break, but you won't miss a thing right here on the KBueno Racing Network. Welcome back to Charlotte. This was right a couple of laps ago before we got right out of that break. TJ Bursk in the 94, the 63 of Ryan Pagliaccio fighting for a spot in the mid-pack as Bursk is on older tires. Bit of a hip check. I got the 94 unsettled, but a bit scary there as we do have another caution here from Charlotte Motor Speedway as we come back to action. The 43 of Ethan Fonseca Moreno was leading this race. And we're going to try to see exactly what might have happened to cause the yellow. Looks like Christopher Bishop might have been involved in it. Let's take a look at the replay. Here's the Long John Silver's number 42. Oh, Kevin D'Elia hard into the outside wall before turn 1. It sends the 42 up the racetrack and into the outside safer barrier. It started with the 53 of D'Elia getting all out of whack, and we'll take another look at it. Looks like he slapped the wall out of turn 4. Eric Schaefer appeared to have looked on the inside and I think either got into him or the 53 just got out of shape. Oh, and David Brackett goes hard into it trying to hop on the brakes. We were talking about D'Elia's consistent performances for the most part in this season and sort of being a dark horse. We're right on board with the 53. Yeah, I think he did get unsettled by the 3. And then a hard hit there by the 7 might take these guys out of contention tonight. As D'Elia is on pit road, so is Ethan Fonseca Moreno. And everyone else, they will come in for service this time by. And so this will help Lawson Peel. It will help TJ Bursk. It will help Kyle Benson. All of those drivers who had to suffer quite a bit on those older set of Goodyear Eagles. Now they can take a fresh set, although they will have lost track position. So they're really going to have to force their way through the field and storm up. But Ethan Fonseca Moreno, no problem there for the race leader. He'll lead them out of the pit lane. There's Schaefer, there's Benson, the aforementioned drivers on the older set of tires, but now on the same footing. So this should get the drivers to the end of this race. We're going to have at least 42 laps to go now. But as the yellow comes to a close and when we get back to the restart, we will be at around 40 laps left here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And so strategy thrown out the window. We're done with that. Now it's all about how you can put yourself in the right position over the long run. It certainly has been a night to remember for Moreno with those Miami Vice-inspired colors off of the Ryan Ellis paint scheme at Homestead. Has made it look good under the lights and has been rapid over the course of the race. Let's see if we can talk to the driver, though, sitting in third right now. That is Colin Forrester in the number 99. And boy, he's built quite a race of his own so far this evening. We'll see if we can get a word with him before we get to the green flag restart. We'll bring in the driver of the 99. Colin, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, Colin, well, you've had a pretty good race tonight. It's felt more like a dream with this Aaron's car this evening. Now, fresh set of tires. Field is on an even playing field. What's your game plan here in the final 41 laps of the race?
Well, I haven't been too good on the long run since it became night, so I'm probably just going to send it here, try and get to the lead, and try and hold on like I did last run, and maybe we'll get cautioned about 20, 30 laps, and I can go ahead and put some new sticker on it, and try and get this win on a short run, because I know that's where I got the speed, and hope for a short run, like I said.
Well, it's been a bit of a rocky season start for you in Season 6 with these Xfinity Series cars. How much would a win or even a top 5, top 3 finish mean for you points-wise and confidence-wise going into Bristol next week?
Definitely would mean a lot. Definitely struggled this season a lot. I mean, just some bad luck and just some not me being good in these cars, but I mean, just a lot of bad luck, honestly, to begin the year. But I definitely have had my struggles at a few tracks and definitely trying to get better with this car. But I'm not going to get better if I don't practice. So I'm just going to keep trying to do my best each week, try and get in laps. And we're going to try and get closer to the front each week. And we'll eventually try and get that win.
Well, you put on a good show tonight. That Aaron's car looks mighty good under the lights here at Charlotte. We appreciate the time. Colin, best of luck at the green flag restart.
All right, appreciate it.
So that's Colin Forrester in the 99, and like he alluded to, some of the struggles he has tried to overcome over this season with the brand new Xfinity Series cars. It's taken him a bit to get over the hump, but tonight, certainly one of the faster cars in the field, and as the night has progressed, this track has changed and the 99 is taking advantage of it now. The track temperature has only dropped 2 degrees since we started, and it's a rather nice 69 degrees on the air temp, and winds to the southwest at a decreased 4 to 5 miles an hour, but still, the track has definitely built up rubber, and it's been different from the start. And Forrester, with the strategy and with the way he's been able to position himself in a good spot here, he's going to be inside of row number 2. The entire field, though, will be chasing car number 43, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who has led a bulk of the race tonight. And he will have Brandon Banks on his outside. Forrester, of course, like we said, inside row 2. His teammate, AJ Green, though, trying to make it a 1-2 Stonks Motorsports effort inside the top 5. Austin Reedy has broken the top 5 tonight. Jesse Prees has been sneaky fast this evening and coming off of a pretty good finish at Pocono, where he arrived in 7th after starting 7th. And then you got Wyatt Brackett, Ryan Pandicio, TJ Bursk, Patrick Thompson to round out the top 10. Pace cars down. Restart lap 128. The field in control of the 43. And Moreno jumps out quickly. We're back under green from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And a big jump there for the 43. Car sideways. It's Brackett right in the middle of the field in 1 and 2. Now a car around. Vizzuti into the inside wall. And the caution is not going to come out. He went sideways under the racing line. And it looks like Brandon Banks is now starting to tumble quite a bit. He has struck the outside wall, and he is falling back to 12th place. What has happened on the restart? Let's see if we can get a better look here with the 54's perspective. And there are 3 incidents to look at here. We'll start with the 54 of Banks. Oh, just got loose on cold tires. Overcorrected a bit and went twice into the outside wall and had to let the entire field through and stayed gripped up on that safer barrier until he can make his way away from it in turn 3. And we'll look here this time from Vizzuti. Came right out of turn 4, got loose, and I'm not sure whether there was contact. I believe there was with Adam Alashire in the 91. Sends him sideways into the wall. It won't take him out of the race, but it has put him 22nd and possibly at mercy of being put a lap down with the fact that there was no yellow flag thrown. Moreno was going to lead this race, a 3-car pack with Forrester and AJ Green right behind. So this is an open door opportunity for Colin Forrester, and he has taken advantage of it so far. And you see Moreno running a bit high off of that blue and white line at the bottom end of the racetrack, where you can gain a lot of grip with the left side of the car. Really, nobody has been able to properly execute that run through the corner. And Moreno is just drifting high to rotate properly. Forrester a little lower, that 48 in the same vein. The Stonks Motorsports Supras might have a chance to jump the 43, and this was really good news for TJ Bursk, the fastest car out of any long run strategy we've had over the course of the race. And so while he's led 27 laps tonight, he will have all the space and time in the world to do what he pleases. Will come across the line for roughly 35 laps to go from Charlotte. And so this is the perfect strategy for TJ Bursk. He can outlast anybody over a long run if it goes green. So keep an eye on Bursk and what he can do in the closing stages of this race. Meanwhile, Moreno will continue to lead. And the field has thinned out quite a bit. Although this pack building from 15th on back is really heating up. Cody Kinsey, Adam Alashire, Tyler Murray in the middle of all this. And it's starting to get chippy in position for points. Right on board with Murray. And the number 36 for Murray Beatty Motorsports, the driver out of Middletown, Delaware. with his teammate Wyatt Brackett right behind him. And Brackett, we saw him get sideways at the exit of turn 2 on the opening lap of the restart. Look at the 91 get loose right in front. And so the Ford Mustangs will try and take advantage entering turn 1. And the 36 will push forward. He's got the position. So Alashire will give way. And that does bring the 10 into the conversation, but the 91 is going to block and force Brackett to go the long way around. This battle developing inside the top 11. Everybody else, though, in the top 10, they have all single filed out. And I guess with the skirmishes that we saw happen on that restart, pretty much everybody took precaution. They gave enough distance and space from each other. And now they're all over the place. How about a look from Lawson Peel, who has dropped to 18th, and he is trying to rebound from his last finish at a 1.5-mile track, Las Vegas, where he got hit with a pit road speeding penalty and ended up crossing the line in 19th. And that, to this day, is his worst finish of Season 6. He is awfully close to tying that worst finish right now in 18th place. And he's got some pretty severe right front damage that might be hampering the performance of his race car. He will get to his Drinkin' Bros Racing teammate Michael Newbraw, who's leading that pack at around the top 15. But Peel's race certainly has not gone the way he would like it to. And the intermediate tracks just continue to plague him. As TJ Burst has found his way to 3rd place, he was able to get right in front of the 48 of AJ Green. So that 94 is back on the hunt like the Florida Panthers. He's going to try to get to Forrester's Florida native machine, as I believe lap traffic might come into the mix as well. That is Nicholas Vizzuti, like we said, who got into that spin on the backstretch. You see the damage on the right rear of the race car. He's going to run the middle lane. So we'll see if he plays nice to the leaders, which he probably will. We expect some courteous driving out of the field. We've seen a lot of courteous racing so far tonight. And caution is out again. It's Jeff No, hard into the wall and severely torn up. Make that our second rookie driver involved in a crash tonight. As we'll see what happened. He was right behind Wyatt Brackett and Adam Alashire. Mind you, they were going side by side. 14 wanted to get a piece of it. Oh, and just gets a little high and goes hard into the wall. He brings Alashire with him, just slinging across the racetrack. And that is a brutal hit for both of them. We'll take another look at it. And so this is from the TJ's team, number 14. So he goes to the inside. He drifts up high. The 91 is there. And so it just hooks the 14 into the wall. And the 91 of Alashire, there was nothing he could do as he got hooked into the mess. And there's his car, also beat up and severely bruised. Cody Kinsey makes his way by. And Alashire, who started this race near the front of the field, will have to limp his race car to pit road. Meanwhile, strategy calls by the front runners, Colin Forrester, AJ Green. It appears that they will not come in. Eric Schaefer and everybody else will come in. Race off of pit road won by Ethan Fonseca Moreno. And so this is huge with 27 laps to go. There's a look at the 48 of Green and the 99 of Forrester, who decide to stay out. A really interesting call here by the Two Stonks Motorsports Toyota Supras, possibly in a belief that there will be another caution before this is all said and done. Well, they will have to deal with the brunt of fresh tire cars behind them when we get to this next restart. Man, what a race it's been on strategy. And a lot of unique calls getting thrown onto the board. I'm just slowly putting them on the bulletin. It's gotten really fun to watch. There's Jaden Porter, Brandon Banks, and Timothy Cook on the way to pit road. So Forster will lead the race, and we'll try and get this settled for our next restart in a couple of laps time. Jeff No in the 14 caught up in that most recent incident. We'll have a chance to talk with the rookie driver, who is the recent casualty in tonight's race from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jeff No, you got a copy with us?
Hey, what's up?
All right, Jeff. Well, certainly a hard hit there with Adam Alashire. Just talk us through what happened there as you guys were entering turn 3.
I'm pretty sure I have to keep it clean on here, but I mean, the freaking idiot ran me down the back stretch, inside wall. I think I don't know, running for 14th or 15th. And then going into the corner, man, he just Dale Sr. my shit in the right rear, sent me into the outside wall, and we're destroyed. So, it was a 91 car. I'll keep that in the memory bank.
So, of course, it takes you out of this race as we are entering the home stretch. But talk to us about the race that you were building prior. We know that you were one of those guys alternatively on the pit road green flag strategy where you stayed out as long as you could. You went down a little bit later. Just give us your perspective on how the race was going for you up until that momentous crash.
I enjoy this league a lot, man. Tyler's done a good job with, getting the talent, and I'm nowhere as good as probably 20 of the guys in this league. So I have to do something different to, give myself a chance to compete and get a good finish. And we've done that so far this year. I think we were, we kept it right inside top 10 in points all year, and Talladega, we came back and finished okay at Talladega after getting wrecked. And then this is going to hurt, man. This is it's one of my favorite places. This is what I consider one of my home tracks. So we'll take, I don't know, the 30th place finish we're going to get. That's how it goes sometimes. I'm just frustrated with the racing with the 91.
Yeah, we were just talking about you being one of the 4 rookies into the top 10, an impressive rookie season you've been building for MTC Esports. Tough break for you tonight. We'll see you, though, at Bristol next week, and I guess we'll see you then.
Appreciate it, brother.
So that is Jeff No, driver of the number 14, unfortunately collected in this hellacious crash to bring out the yellow at around 27 laps to go. So we will reset at lap 143. It'll be Colin Forrester, AJ Green on the front row, TJ Bursk and Ethan Fonseca Moreno rounding out row number 2. Austin Reedy brings in the rest of the top 5. Then Jesse Prees, Ryan Pandicio, Tony Kibbett, Trevor Haley, and Eric Schaefer. How about the Spotify Ford Mustang of Trevor Haley knocking on the door for the top 10? Beautiful car tonight, by the way. And first debut of this scheme. We've seen him rotate between 2 schemes, the CSX and I believe the IC car over the course of the year, but never seen Spotify. So he's starting to turn up the speakers, though, on his end. A nice run so far by the number 4 machine. A lot of drivers putting their name into the conversation, but there are 2 Supras on the oldest set of tires in the field, ready to bring us back to full song at lap 143. 24 to go from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And the teammates will go side by side. The question is, how long will they last? Moreno is sideways on the apron. Will he save it? Yes, he does, but he goes sideways in front of Kyle Benson. They'll snag the inside wall. Michael Newbraw is in it too. He's on the track, so that brings out the caution. Right on the restart, and one of the most dominant cars in the field has left side damage. And he brings Kyle Benson with him. Michael Newbraw officially triggers the yellow flag as he is stopped on the racing surface in turn 2. We'll take another look at it on the restart. Bit of a sluggish one there for Moreno. But this appears to be just cold tires. Sort of similar to Brandon Banks, and the 43 just loses it in the middle of the corner, tries to hold on to it, but he gets that transition on the apron, and that car goes sideways. Kyle Benson, nowhere to go on the bottom, and he gets collected in it. And a tough break for Moreno and Benson, 2 drivers who were building up strong runs this evening. We'll try to get a better look from Moreno. And you can tell he was just trying his best to either keep it away from the field if he unraveled out of control, or just keep that car safe. But unfortunately, he does neither in his attempts. We'll try and see from Kyle Benson's perspective what exactly he saw. It looks like he might be out of this race. Here's a look from the pilot Flying J, number 38. Nowhere he can go on that one. Gets to the apron. There's Michael Newbraw, who we will check in with and see what happened to him. This is a separate incident in a 1 and 2. So right behind Kyle Benson, he's fighting with Wyatt Brackett, and looks like same deal as the 43. Just goes sideways and makes contact with the 13. Look at that. Almost avoidance there by Timothy Cook. Nice job to hold on to the binders and get away from that with locked up brakes. So it's an official 3-car incident. AJ Green will take position in front of Forrester for the lead. So those are 3 more drivers that might be taken out. Attrition starting to build up late in the going, as we're now into 22 laps to go and might have the restart inside 20 remaining here in Concord, North Carolina. Let's see if we can talk with Ethan Fonseca Moreno. His car on pit road and somewhat torn up on the left side of the car after that spin exiting turn 2 on cold tires. Ethan, you got a copy with us?
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Well, certainly a tough situation there. You lost control there in the middle of 1 and 2. Just what happened there?
I was just trying to be aggressive on the restart and trying to make up as much as I can, as much ground as I can on the leaders, so I can, try to make a move and the 3 or, make something happen. Because I knew I had to race TJ, so yeah, just very bad mistake at an unnecessary time.
And now you're trying to get your car repaired here for at least the final 21 laps of this race. But I gotta say, you're certainly one of the fastest cars all night long. What seemed to be ticking in the right way for you? I mean, another 1.5-mile race where you lead a bunch of laps and being able to lead in front of some of the heavy hitters, what behind the success for most of the night?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have much to comment on that. It's just kind of lost for words right now.
Oh, it's all good. We appreciate the time. Tough break for you tonight. Hopefully we can see you get back out on track, and we'll see you at Bristol next week.
Yeah, appreciate it.
That's Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Obviously not in the best mood right now with that incident. Certainly felt like he can go out and win that race. It appears that Lawson Peel is also on pit road. He is 18th on the racetrack and will fall, I believe, 1 lap down, trying to get it all fixed. And there he is, Brandon Banks, Michael Newbraw, Drinking Bros Racing. Just sort of struggling over the course of the night. Especially as of late with what's happened. The attrition starting to pick up, and the drivers that were at once the dominators tonight are slowly fading away. And it leaves AJ Green, Colin Forrester out in front. These cautions are helping them equalize with the fresh tire guys behind them, but with the situation with Moreno, that pushes Bursk to 3rd, Jesse Priest to 4th. Austin Reedy still in the top 5, Ryan Pandicio, Eric Schaefer, Kivett, Haley, and Tyler Murray rounding out the current top 10. So we'll see what the field cooks up on this restart. It'll be officially 20 laps to go in our longest race of the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. We appreciate everyone tuning in tonight on the KBueno Racing Network. AJ Green and Colin Forrester try to pick up their first win of the season and make it 6 different winners in 2023. Pace cars down. 48 of AJ Green will be the first to act with the 99 right alongside. Green flag back in the air, 20 laps to go. And a good start by the teammates. Forrester is going to stay up top, but there goes TJ Burke. Fight on the inside for 2nd. Bit of a loose moment there. Further back in the top 10 by Eric Schaefer. Ryan Pandicio will follow Austin Reedy's tracks into turn 3. And TJ Bursk challenging the Dream Machine on fresh rubber. He will have the spot, and he'll get to 2nd. And now here comes Reedy for the taking. Remember, it is old versus fresh tires in this instance at a difference of around 15 or so laps. Reedy will duck it down to the bottom. He'll bring Prees with him, and Bursk now aims outside for the lead in turn 3. And Bursk, who has used the bottom basically all night long, has to resort to the top, but it works wonders for 94 of TJ Bursk, who will get to the lead. Austin Reedy looking for his best finish of the season. He gets into second. And it's all about who can survive. At the last leg of this race, if we do not see another caution, Bursk now up by 0.2 of a second and growing. But this is Austin Reedy's chance to show what he's got. It's been a strugglesome year for car 34, and Reedy now with his biggest chance of the year to grab a win tonight. Just trying to see what he can do differently than TJ Bursk. He's going to stay in the same line. See the flames coming out of the exhaust port of Bursk as he slows down and arcs that car to the bottom of the track, and Reedy is keeping him honest. We're having a big battle, though, build up the latter half of the top 10. How about the shuffling here behind AJ Green, Ryan Pandicio, Eric Schaefer, Trevor Haley, Tony Kivitt, 4-car pack. And Kivitt will force the 48 down, almost 3, now 3 wide. Pandicio and Trevor Haley are going to scoot on by. And how about these finishes potentially for Pandicio and Trevor Haley? They'll go side by side for position out of turn 4. Looks like Green and Forrester are starting to drown in the sea of fresh tire cars. And they're going to have to hope for a yellow flag to come out. Forrester has already dropped to 17th position, practically all by himself. And that situation not panning out in the way they would like it to, as Reedy pulls away with TJ Bursk. Jesse Prees is holding the fort down for whoever wants to challenge him for third. And we'll cross the line for what will be 15 laps to go, now 14 from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Oh, and Tony Kivitt loose, exiting turn 2. His teammate Eric Schaefer looks on the outside. And Trevor Haley follows in suit for turn 3. And you can see here, these drivers are trying to get every last bit of points they can get. Of course, Schaefer still leading Lawson Peel on running order right now. He could break down that 8-point gap that was present when we started tonight's race. And Schaefer could have a chance to regain the points lead as Austin Reedy battles on the outside for a moment on your race leader, and he's starting to pressure. And you're right on board with Reedy in the 34, just trying to do all that he can differently than the 94 Bursk. He'll drift up high and try to arc it off the corner. And we know TJ is one of the better long-run drivers, but he's really never captured the lead on the exact short run here off the restart. So he's going to try to keep him honest. They're still building up a pack further through the field. And how about battle inside the top 9? Here's Patrick Thompson, Tyler Murray, Cody Kinsey, Craig Lautenschlager back from 4 in turn 1. A beautiful looking Tornadoes Ford Mustang and a gorgeous Mountain Dew car on the inside. Not sure if that's the most delectable combo of all time, and maybe you can have a Wawa Hoagie in there as well. All 3 of them entering turns 3 and 4. The 36 will hold strong. The seam in the middle seems to be a commonly used part of the track for most of the field if they're not at the very bottom of the track. Murray's going to shut the door on Thompson before he even has a chance to get right back underneath. And so that battle settles out for 9th. Now it's going to be for 10th as Kinsey wraps the top in 1 and 2. Him in the 13 now going at it. How about Trevor Haley in the number 4 car? He's getting by Ryan Pandiscio and trying to force his way through the number 76 of Kivett. He drifts him up the track. And Kivett will wash up his Chevrolet Camaro. Out of sight, out of mind. Trevor Haley makes his way into the top 5 for the first time with 10 to go. So Pandiscio on the inside of Kivett. Kivett, the driver out of South Maryland, trying to play as much defense as possible, but Ryan Pandiscio will give him a run for his money. And Pandiscio, the Massachusetts driver, pushes on through. Wyatt Brackett gets turned right into turn 1 by Kivett. Caution is out. 8 to go. And that was a quick one for Wyatt Brackett. There's the pace car out to gather the field up. The Camping World Good Sam Ford Mustang. Almost absolutely destroyed. And it looks like they just came together right before turn 1. Here's a look at it out of turn 4. Brackett obviously presents the nose to the inside, and they bang doors once. Right there. Either Kivett comes up, or Kivett comes down rather, or Brackett comes up. Either one of those two. We'll try to get a better look here from Brackett. He goes to the inside on the quad oval. They make a bit of contact. And it looks like the 10 comes up, expecting there to be more space between him and Kivett. And Kivett, of course, trying to make sure that Brackett does not gain that spot entering turn 1. It sends him completely around. And that is our caution at a pivotal marker of the race. Here's a look on board with Brackett and his perspective. Nothing you can do, just gets turned as he comes up the racetrack. And it isn't race-ending damage for the 10. But it's enough to hurt his spirits quite a bit. And we'll lose him a ton of track position as the caution is out. We'll cross the line for 6 laps to go. Now, whether we end up in organic or manufactured green flag or green-white checkered territory. I'm sorry there. Not entirely sure whether that will be the case or whether guys will come down pit road. But it certainly will be an interesting one as we come down to crunch time here in Concord, North Carolina. Let's see if we can dial up the driver of the 34, Austin Reedy, who looks for his best finish of the year in the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. And Austin, you got a copy with us?
Yeah, I got you, man.
All right, Austin. Well, you have moved your way to second. You have calmly just stormed through the field little by little. Now's your opportunity. Inside 5 to go. What's the mindset right now?
We got to get a good restart and make sure we can clear Jesse going coming out of 2 here so we can have a shot at TJ. I think I'll burn him up a little there, trying to get to him and trying to get around him. I had one chance to be side by side with him going into 1, but he threw a pretty good block and I couldn't really do anything about it. But we just got to stay positive here and try to get this restart down.
Well, your best finish so far this season has been 6, and it happened 2 races in a row. Once at Phoenix, the next at the only other 1.5-mile track we've raced at Las Vegas. Even if you're not able to get the win tonight, how big of a finish would this be for you in your chase to get back in the point standings fight?
It's really good if we can just get a second would be amazing. The win would be better, but getting 38th and then like 29th at Nashville and Auto Club really hurt us. So kind of been on the back foot here for a while. So this is every week I think we've improved a little bit, and this week I think we're really showing what we can do. So great points night as long as we can finish it.
And there's been a lot of progression, no doubt, for you in that 34 team over the course of the season. Last question before we let you get focused in for what might be the last restart of tonight. Is this the last restart of the night, or are you expecting more yellows to be thrown?
I'm not sure. Been racing pretty clean out there, so I think it'll just depend if somebody messes up in the restart zone or coming out of 2. But I don't know. We'll have to see. You never know what happens in these races.
All right, well, Austin, nonetheless, we certainly appreciate the time. Wishing you the best of luck on what might be the final restart of tonight's race from Charlotte.
All right, thanks, son.
So That is Austin Reedy, driver of the number 34, in second place, right behind TJ Bursk on the hunt. And it appears we will have a restart with 3 laps to go. This will be an organic green-white checkered-esque scenario. We will enter that territory if we get another caution. Just have to make that decision when the lights come off of the iRacing official pace car. TJ Bursk is looking to join Lawson Peel as the only other driver to have 2 wins on the season. And while Bursk came away with a 4th place finish at Pocono last week, it really wasn't the TJ we were definitely known to see, where he would just come up front and dominate races late. Tonight has been one of those nights. Over 35, 40 lap runs, that 94 was always out front with arms stretched out wide. Just trying to reach for that checkered flag, and he will have an opportunity at win number 2 of the season. Austin Reedy looking for win number 1. Jesse Prees has snuck his way into 3rd. He's got his DBR teammate, Eric Schaefer, on the outside in 4th. Trevor Haley looking for a fantastic driver finish. Top 5, Tony Kibbett, Ryan Pandicio, going to be 6th and 7th. Tyler Murray, 8th. Patrick Thompson looking for a top 10. And rounding out the top 10 is Craig Lounslager, who has faced some damage earlier tonight. Still looking for a decent point stay regardless. Well, here we go. 3 to go at the stripe. When we get the green flag, TJ Bursk will have control, Austin Reedy to react, and the 2 Chevrolet DBR drivers will try and break through this 2-car battle for the win. Pace car is down. TJ Bursk will have discretion on the restart. He goes as early as he can. A little bit of wheel spin. The 34 struggles to get going. We're back under green. 3 to go. And Reedy trying to be aggressive against Jesse Prees for a second. Bursk has opened it up to about half a second of a lead. The 34 holds on from the outside lane. Car into the outside wall. Now the 76 goes hard into the inside barrier. He will spin. Caution is out, and we will enter green-white checkered territory for the first time tonight. And it's not over yet. Tony Kibbett, the newest victim. Here's a look at the restart. Of course, Kibbett with a pretty damaged Chevrolet Camaro to begin with. Lounslager on the inside. Brandon Banks up top. Then goes Lawson Peel. He make it 3 wide through the middle. And right there is where he gets the 76, who gets turned by the 42 of Bishop. Hard into the wall, and of course right back onto the racing surface. Excuse me there, to bring out the caution. We'll slow the field down with 3 laps to go. And we will enter green, white, checkered territory. We'll explain the rules for you. We will go green with approximately 2 laps to go. Double file like we have with every single restart tonight. Leader will try and get to the white flag and finish this one under green. If a caution does come out before the leader gets the white flag at the start-finish line, we will have another attempt. We'll re-rack them, we'll redouble them, and do it all over again. We have 3 opportunities to finish this race under green. If we do have all 3 attempts exhausted, and the caution comes out before we get the white on the last attempt, whoever is the leader at the time of that last caution by the timing and scoring will be considered the winner tonight. However, if the leader does get to the white and there are no cautions in between, then the leader will just try to bring it home as best as they can. Doesn't matter what happens, we will have a victor, no matter who it will be. And we have seen some chaotic things here at Charlotte in recent memory. If you can recall Season 4, where Craig Lounslager gave the bumper in 3 and 4 on the last lap to come away with the victory in the grass. And then it was an absolute strategy fight last time we were here, with the next-gen cars in Season 5. Austin Reedy was that driver to fall short to Jaden Porter in the closing laps. Can he rewrite history tonight and try to beat the 94 of TJ Bursk? Now, for TJ, it was really good news for him on that last restart. Had it gone green, we might have been calling TJ's name all the way to the checkered flag. But the 34 of Reedy will have one more chance, and so will the rest of the field, at getting past him and getting a race win. So the 94 will lead him single file through the corner. And it looks like we will put them double file next time by. So everyone just sort of biding their time for the moment and seeing exactly what they can do to either plan out this next restart or plan out the way they're going to work with their teammates, which is a luxury that Jesse Prees has in the 00. We'll see if we can get a chance to talk to him before we get to the green flag on this first attempt at overtime from Charlotte. Jesse Prees, you got a copy with us in the booth?
Yeah, I hear you guys.
All right, Jesse, well, you've run well all night long. You've got your teammate Eric Schaefer behind you. You both are going to be in row number 2 on this green-white checkered restart. What's the plan? What have you guys been talking about, and how are you feeling about this race coming down to the wire?
Just try to get a decent finish here. I'm not usually very good here. I don't know. I like the track's all right. I'm just not that quick here. Just try to get a good finish. I don't know. Try not to die.
Well, we know that certainly can happen. Big crashes near the end of the race. But you've run up front for a good amount of it. No, we got the 1 to green signal. We'll ask you one more before we let you get focused for the green flag restart. That last one, you and Austin Reedy going side by side. Talk us through that, your experience with that, and then up until that caution flag.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like got a little bit of contact there. I don't know if I came up or we came down or just whatever. But wait, jolted the wheel pretty good on me. And then when I went into 3, it about got loose on me. So I'm just glad we didn't wreck.
Well, you're up here in the top 4 in the waiting laps on this first attempt at GWC. Jesse, we certainly appreciate the time. Best of luck, and go get him on the restart.
Thanks, guys.
As Jesse Prees, driver of the 00, and his Chevrolet is on the inside of row 2. He will have the advantage over Reedy, who has to react to TJ Bursk, but since Prees is right behind the race leader, looks like he'll have a chance to get under Reedy and try to come home in second if push comes to shove. First attempt at overtime. TJ Bursk looking to grab his second win of the season. Reedy looking for win number 1 in 2023 with these Xfinity Series cars, and the rest of the field hungry for a race win of their own and trying to see what happens next. Pace car is down. TJ Bursk launches early. We're back under green. First attempt at overtime. And TJ off to a fantastic start. The 34, though, is going to stay clear of the 2 Drinkin' Bros Racing Chevrolets. It appears on the back straightaway. Everything is clean. The 94 will bring him through 3 and 4 for what might be the penultimate time from Charlotte. Out of turn 4, TJ Bursk catches the white flag. And they are still side by side for that 3rd place position. Prees and Schaefer giving their 150%. Trevor Haley trying to spoil the party in the 94. Cars turn behind. The 36 sideways on the backstretch. They'll try and settle it out, but up front by about half a second is TJ Bursk, who will come away with his 2nd win of Season 6. TJ Bursk wins at Charlotte. What a drive by the 94. As he will come out of turn 4 and begin his celebrations for the second time this season. TJ Bursk is heading to Paul's Setup Shop, Victory Lane. And he could not be denied in those final laps as he rushed away from Austin Reedy, hauled in the race lead late, and did not look back. As the 94 continues to act as a threat to the rest of the 4-wide field, the 94 continues his celebration. He wins here in Concord, North Carolina. Let's get a look at the full unofficial results from Charlotte Motor Speedway. TJ Bursk is a winner for the second time this season. He joins Lawson Peel as the only other with 2 wins or more on the calendar year. Austin Reedy is short by about half a second, but a fantastic point stay for Reedy after some struggles in the first couple of races this year. Eric Schaefer, again, a third-place finish, keeps up his average finish, and it looks like he will assume the points lead over Lawson Peel next week at Bristol. Jesse Prees, the DBR teammate, comes in right behind his teammate to come home 4th. Trevor Haley in that Spotify car. What a great run by the rookie. He is a top 5 finisher tonight from Charlotte. Ryan Pandiccio, same deal for him, rookie driver, and even Patrick Thompson, both of them 6th and 7th at the checkered flag. Colin Forrester rebounded to an 8th place finish. AJ Green, his teammate, back in 9th. Lawson Peel still manages to corral a top 10 despite some of the struggles late in the going. Craig Lownslauger is 11th. Cody Kinsey back in 12th. Michael Newbrough comes home in 13th. Christopher Bishop for Murray Reedy Motorsports is 14th. 15th goes to the 75 of Nicholas Vizzuti. 16th to Tyler Murray. Brandon Banks is 17th. And Banks will be the last driver to be scored on the lead lap. Craig Parks is 1 lap down in 18th. Timothy Cook is 19th. And rounding out the top 20 will be Wyatt Brackett in the 10. Tony Kivitt is 21st. Jaden Porter getting collected in a crash earlier in the race is 11 laps down in 22nd. Ethan Fonseca Moreno and Kyle Benson. Crucial mistake by Moreno. Exiting turn 2, got loose and collected Benson. They both went to the inside wall. Their nights were over. 23rd and 24th for them. A really tough break for 2 of the fastest cars tonight. Same goes for Adam Alashire, who suffered a really crazy hit with Jeff No. 25th, he will finish. Jeff No, as a matter of fact, will come home behind him in 26th. 27th is Kevin D'Elia in the number 53. David Brackett is 50 laps down in 28th. Curtis Kelly is 29th, and Eric Stewart in the 82 rounds out the top 30, and then go the final 5 in our field tonight. Lance Hill, 31st. Richard Rico, 32nd. 162 laps down for Jason Hastings in 33rd. 34th for Luke Knupp, and 35th for Brandon Gillis. Gillis, Knupp, and Hastings involved in our first caution of the race, and they did not come back, unfortunately. Well, it is TJ Bursk to come away with his second win of the season. We'll try and get a chance to talk to him. I do not believe he is in the voice chats. Never mind, he is. So we will have a chance to talk with your race winner for the second time this season. And TJ Bursk, what an absolutely phenomenal race for you. I mean, as soon as we got past lap 35, lap 40 on a run, it seemed like you had the field in control the entire time. Then you grabbed the lead late and you never looked back. How good does it feel to get your second win of the season in commanding fashion? All right, TJ, you got a copy with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, it's certainly been a phenomenal race for you. Over the course of the evening, you've commanded the race multiple times, especially over long green flag runs. Then you grabbed it late and you never looked back. What went behind that, and how good does it feel to get your second win of the season?
It definitely feels good. I feel like some of these races I've had pretty good speed. I just haven't been able to park it in victory lane. But, I figured we'd come out and qualify this race, because I feel like starting in the back kind of put me at a disadvantage, but so I tried to work on the qualifying and make sure we could post a solid lap so we could keep it out front most of the race. kind of feel like I made the wrong strategy call there towards lap 120, but it all worked out. You know, we had to make some passes, but I had a good restart, and then I started running a pretty consistent, smooth line to get it up there. So definitely had to work pretty hard for that one, but it feels good.
Fourth at one point near the end of this race, and you were able to move yourself up through everything that happened, multiple cautions, drivers unfortunately getting taken out of the race, you name it, many outside factors coming in. Did you have any concerns to that sector of the race, or did you feel like your confidence was more than enough to hold you strongly at the front of the field and be able to pull away?
Yeah, I think when I stayed out, I was around lap 100. I was thinking just kind of save a set of tires, and I thought, only running 10 laps that more people would stay out, but that didn't happen, and that kind of hurt me. But we got a caution around lap 120, and I was starting P9 there, and so I knew I had some work cut out for me, but just kind of maneuvered my way through traffic about as perfect as possible. A little bit of luck and just running a smooth line. So that was tough, but you can't expect these races to go perfect, and you got to battle through some adversity. And 4Y's getting more competitive every week, so you can't come out here and expect just to everything fall in your lap. You got to work for it for sure.
Well, you definitely earned it tonight. Your second win of the season. You joined Lawson Peel as the two drivers that now have multiple wins this season. How much momentum does that swing to your direction as we head into Bristol and as we get closer to the All-Star break?
It probably. I don't really know. I don't really think about it like that. I'm just trying to come out here and run consistently. I will say I feel like the short tracks are going to be my strong suit as the season goes on. So hopefully we can go into Bristol and get a solid finish. I feel like that's going to be more about surviving there. But I've been surprised. I mean, everyone's been running pretty clean, so it's fun to come out here and race every week. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna try to keep finishing in the top 5 and keep the car clean, and then hopefully make a bid at a championship at the end of the season.
Well, it sounds good, TJ. On your second win of the season here from Charlotte, is there anybody in particular you'd like to thank for the run?
Yeah, I'd like to thank God. I've been going through college, and it's tough, but it is what it is. And other than that, I'd like to thank Teamer. He's the GOAT for real. And thank you guys for putting on a show.
Well, TJ, first of all, I'm going to say I feel you on that. College, especially in the fall semester, really tough. But we certainly appreciate the time. Congratulations on the win here at Charlotte. And hopefully we get to see you at Bristol next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You have a good one.
That's TJ Bursk, driver of the 94, victorious for the second time in this 2023-2024 season. And we did talk to Austin Reedy near one of those last restarts. Second is where he finishes tonight. And Austin, you talked to us a little bit before. You said that even a second place finish would still mean so many great things for you on your chase to get back into the title hunt in point standings. Just talk to us on your experience on that final restart and maybe what happened there, and just talk to us through exactly sort of play-by-play what went down in that restart.
Yeah, he had a good start. TJ did. It was hard to not spin the tires there, and I spun them a little bit again on that second restart. But the leader, I felt like the leader just had such an advantage starting on the bottom there, and it's hard to time it, and you got to get good throttle control so you don't spin them. But we didn't get a bad one, but it is what it is. I mean, it was a great finish for us. Second place. We jumped 4 in the standings. We just need to focus up for these next few races and head down.
So Bristol Motor Speedway next up. Of course, we know that you've definitely performed well at some of the short tracks, and we head to our really first short track since Phoenix Raceway, race number 4. But this is a shorter racetrack, of course, very different from how Arizona was a couple of weeks ago. So how do you try and approach that race mentally, and how is the communication with your team like as you guys prepare for that one?
It's gonna be kind of just to stay out of trouble, stay on the lead lap kind of race, I think. Gotta probably that race. Hopefully, we got the better internet like we did tonight, and we can qualify up front and not have to work away from the back. But that one's gonna be a battle. I feel like that one's not gonna be over till it's over. We've seen how Bristol races go and some of the short tracks go. So if you can have a clean car at the end and be up front, you'll have a shot.
Well, regardless, this Speedway Ford Mustang, which looks beautiful, by the way, under the lights here at Charlotte, was definitely fast, definitely had a lot of speed in it. You come home with a second place finish. Before we let you go, Austin, here from Charlotte Motor Speedway, anybody in particular you want to thank for tonight's finish?
Yeah, Tyler Murray for putting the lead together, the paint scheme, and TJ's team for a great sponsor for the league. So happy, and I know Tyler's ecstatic that we're getting 35 to 40 guys every week, so that's pretty awesome. Can't wait for to see how the season plays out.
Well, it's a good finish here from Concord, North Carolina. Austin, on behalf of the broadcast team, congratulations on second. We'll see you at Bristol Motor Speedway under the lights next Wednesday.
All right, see you, man.
That's Austin Reedy coming home with his best finish of the season by far. Second place for the Murray Reedy Motorsports Ford Mustang. Let's get to third. And Eric, are you going to be a mainstay in the booth? Because top three finishes seem to be your thing this season. You somehow still find a way to consistently end up here week in and week out. Talk to us about tonight's race, and especially how it went for you near the end.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to be trying to be consistent as I can, honestly, for the overall points, man. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to win a race this year. I'm hoping to, but my main thing is to be consistent and finish the points out on hopefully the top 2 or 3. But no, man, the race was good. That second pit stop there, I don't know how them guys saved more fuel than me, but I ended up running out of gas coming onto pit road, had a slow pit stop, and then it kind of paid off with that one caution. And then myself, TJ, and Lawson decided to stay out, and I think we made the wrong decision there, but it ended up paying off with that little incident between me and Kevin Delia. I did not even want to touch him, man. I went low to go around him, and I don't know if we actually ever made contact, but I just kind of feel bad about that one. I did not mean to do that. But no, all in all, man, the race, to me, it was fun. I like Charlotte. I love these cars, as you know, and no, I'm just trying to do everything I can to be as consistent as I can be in these.
Well, you talked about believing that you don't see yourself winning a race, but I mean, we head to next week's event, Bristol Motor Speedway, and if I'm looking correctly in past memories, seasons 4 and 5, the winner of those Bristol races has been you. You've been one of the best ones on the short tracks, especially there at the fastest half mile in Bristol, Tennessee. So how do you approach that race, and how do you try and make sure that you make it a three-peat for Eric Schaefer at Bristol Motor Speedway?
I will say me and Jesse have a little bit of an advantage over everybody, as many official races that we have ran there in the past with the B car. But this, like TJ said in his interview, man, this league has just become so competitive. Anybody has a chance to win any given week. And I know I won the other 2, but this one's going to be a little bit tougher this year, I think, honestly, with the amount of talent we have in here right now.
Well, so far the finishes are coming your way, and I believe after tonight's race you will have the points lead over your teammate Lawson Peel. You and him have been sort of wrestling for it over the past couple of races. But Eric, on this podium finish from Charlotte Motor Speedway, is there anyone in particular you'd like to thank for tonight's run?
Absolutely, man. Like I always say, you and Francisco always put on one heck of a broadcast, man. Thank y'all so much for what you do for the league. Huge shout out to Tyler Murray, Reedy, and all the guys that admin this league. Can't say enough for what they do for us. Shout out to the DVR guys. Shout out to Travis Anderson and TJ's team for sponsoring the league. Shout out to Joe for doing my paint scheme again, and shout out to Reefer Speed Labs, Paul Setup Shop, and yeah, man. Like I said, Kenneth, I just can't say enough for what y'all do, man. We really do appreciate y'all broadcasting us every week.
Well, certainly from the bottom of me and Francisco's hearts, I know he's not in the booth with us tonight, but at the bottom of our hearts, we certainly appreciate all the kind words, and we always appreciate seeing you out on the track, being an OG in this series, and what a finish tonight from Charlotte. Congratulations on the podium, Eric. We certainly appreciate all the kind words. Hopefully we talk soon. Bristol Motor Speedway next week. We'll see you there.
All right. Thanks, Kenny.
So Eric Schaefer, third place finish here from Charlotte. He continues to build his resume as one of the most consistent drivers in this field. And podium after podium after podium coming for the car of the 3. The 94 of TJ Bursk is the winner here tonight from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And as we get out of Concord, North Carolina tonight, we go to Bristol, Tennessee. Our first short track race since Phoenix in round number 4. We'll be under the lights there at the fastest half mile. We'll go green next Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the KBueno Racing Network. Then we will have the High Banks of Daytona to follow after that. Michigan International Speedway, the Old Atlanta Racetrack, and Watkins Glen, our first road course of the season, to bring us all the way to the All-Star break at North Wilkesboro. Then we will calm things down for a little bit. As we go into November, we'll have some weeks off for Thanksgiving. Let the field and ourselves take a bit of a holiday break. We'll be coming back Darlington, Kansas, IRP, Indianapolis, Texas, Iowa, and then all the way through to the playoffs for Season 6 of the 4 Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. So that does it for tonight's broadcast from Charlotte Motor Speedway. For Tyler Murray and everyone from the admin team and race council at 4 Wide, and from all of us at the KBueno Racing Network, for Keelan Belsha, for Charlie Byer, for Francisco Bacallao, and for myself in the booth, Kenneth Bueno, good night from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Congratulations to TJ Bursk on his second win of the year.